All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So we got a little vlog style video today. We got a little bit of PPF work we're going to be doing. I got my buddy Jarjan's Range Rover back there. It is a 2010. So Jarjan, or it's Jar as we call him, I actually met him at the bays when I was still there. So he is a huge detail enthusiast and a huge car guy. He's had this Range Rover pretty much since new. I think since new. This is his baby. This thing, he's driven it. It's got 110,000 miles on it. So not a normal car you see being done in PPF, right? You know, he's very meticulous with the way he takes care of things. And unfortunately, in the area he lives in the city, in Chicago, a lot of other people aren't. So he's ran into the issue of, like, you know, we had paint corrected and coated this thing in Crystal Serum Ultra just about a year ago, maybe a little bit more than a year ago, I can't remember now. And just in that time, it feels like every 2 months he's had to, you know, recorrect the hood or recorrect the door or something because people keep scratching it or dinging it or whatever. And he is like your OCD detailer enthusiast customer, which is really awesome for me because I like working with people like that. But not awesome for someone who lives in the city. It's constantly having, you know, their car get jammed up. So we'll be doing some PPF on it. Here, I'll turn the camera around. You guys can kind of check out the shop. So we are at my favorite location in the Bolingbrook area. We're at Pro Era Detail. So this is the Range Rover right here. As you guys can see, it's in pretty good shape. Like I said, it's got a nice paint correction and, you know, some CSU about a year ago, still really fresh. Super dirty, so we definitely got a good detail that we gotta give it. You know, tons of dirt and areas for stuff to hide in, you know, like under here and all that. There's gonna be a bunch of gunk. So we're not doing the whole thing, but we're doing a couple key panels, right? So the hood for sure, which is gonna be interesting. I mean, I think this is gonna give me a real run for my money. I haven't done this hood before. You know, it's interesting. It's a big clamshell, right? But because of the way it drops in the front, you have to do a pretty unique stretch to get it to sit right, and then come down here. There's a stretch that way. You have a valley there and a valley here. So, you know, I don't think this is gonna be like a, you know, it's not gonna be like a AT4 2500 Sierra difficulty, but it'll definitely be challenging, you know. But yeah, I'm excited to do the hood. I'm doing the fenders too. Just this top piece, nothing on the bottom part. Doing the front bumper right here. And then he wants to do the doors a little differently, so I gotta figure that one out. He just wants to go from this body line up. Probably gonna end up doing the whole door. I just gotta see how much of a headache it is to get these things off. And then doing the quarters, right? Which will be pretty big stretch, but nothing too crazy. As long as our stretch is good, this will lay here. So I'll have to stretch across and then keep a little bit of tension coming down so that this sits in nicely right there. And actually seals up once the air pocket's there. But that's pretty much it. You know, thorough decon. We'll have to do some cutting to get the coating off, you know, to make sure that it's sitting nicely. But I wanted to give you guys a quick sneak peek at what Ty's got going on in the shop. Dude, these Vipers always stand out so much, dude. So he's doing a paint correction on this thing. It looks ridiculous. I mean, this is so pretty. So you can see, you know, maybe like here where he hasn't got a chance to hit it yet. Hang on, let me pinpoint it. Yeah, there we go. You can kind of see some of the scratches. And then we'll come like over here where he already did some of the cutting work. Oh, dude, look at the clarity. Yeah, Ty is awesome at paint corrections. And then this thing's finally getting wrapped up. If you guys watched the podcast video with me and Ty, this is actually the background that we used. So yeah, so Ty's in the Bolingbrook area, Pro Era Detail, awesome at what he does. Like seriously, like he's one of the few people I would actually let do my car, and or one of the few people I'd want to do like a training with. He really knows his stuff. He's been around a long time. If you guys want to know more about Ty, there is a video. It is a no-name podcast is what I have on there right now. But yeah, you guys can go ahead and watch that one. I'll see if I can get a card up here. I got to figure out how to do that. But yeah, so First things first, I gotta unpack all my stuff. I gotta figure out where I'm gonna be working. I wanna get some of these lights on. We're gonna give this Range Rover a bath. I wanna get the badges off, and then start kind of planning what we're gonna do. We'll be using my favorite film, so Optical Defense. Picked up a 72 roll. And then I have a couple other films here too that we can play with as well. So I have a film that we're doing some R&D for, right? So that'll be super interesting to play with. And then I have a film that we're doing some feedback for. So that's, and I do have 2 other smaller sheets of film. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna use them for. I might just throw something in and help jar out a little bit. But that's one of the things that I do enjoy a lot. I do a lot of like feedback and testing with PPF companies now. So I have two sheets of film, let's say, here that someone sent over, so I can give them some feedback and kind of figure out if there's anything I would change or what the good and the bad is. So I'll play with that at some point today. Maybe I'll do like 2 shots on the Range Rover hood. We'll do one where like I know it's not gonna be perfect, but I just kind of want to get a feel for the film, and then we'll do one where we're trying to lay it like A1. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's kind of it. Well, I'm gonna get the camera set up somewhere over here. We'll get a little time lapse going, and then y'all can just kind of hang out and keep me company, because it gets quiet and lonely. All right, anyways, okay, bye. Alright, so car is prepped. I get this question a lot, which is, do you need to paint correct paint before you put PPF over it, right? So short answer, no. Long answer is I do, right? So with PPF, especially with a film like optical or any of the more clear films, right? The film itself is 8 mils thick and extremely clear, where your clear coat is traditionally maybe 1 or 2, right? Your whole paint system, somewhere between 4 and 6. So your clear coat is just a part of that. If you want consistency and you want to regulate and be able to control how many variables you have in film, I would do it. Now, as you guys saw there, that was a wool pad, some heavier compound, Millet, which is kind of like a rotary, really. And I'm not worried about how it's going to come out in terms of finishing, right? Because we know that the film is so clear that it's going to cover up any kind of micro marring or anything like that. But I want to make sure that, like, if there's a sealant, if there's any kind of wax, if there's any kind of ceramic coatings, which a lot of newer cars are getting them from the dealership now, I want to be able to cut all that kind of stuff out and make sure the film grabs well. The other part of it is I like low tech films. I like Optical Defense. I like Stack Dino Shield. I like 8 Peaks of stuff. I like Audubon Incognito. I like those kind of films. Those kind of films, by nature, are not as sticky, which I like, because you can make them sticky by scuffing up the paint in the area that you want it to grab more. So in those valleys and on my anchor points, they're going to be a little bit more grabby. But anyways, It is 2 p.m. I am fasting, so I gotta go eat because I only have until 7 p.m. to jam out about 2,500 calories and 200 grams of protein. So I gotta get jamming, but I'll be back and you guys can just keep hanging out here and this will be like 2 seconds for you. I don't know, so whatever, bye. This thing recording, there it is. All right, so back from lunch, had some awesome Chinese food. Haven't been lifting a whole lot, so I've just been fasting and trying to keep it like pretty clean to, you know, kind of balance it out a little bit. But I had a little cheat meal yesterday with a chai latte and a donut. I've been craving some lo mein for fucking weeks now, dude. So, you know, started to bang it out. But I'm getting pretty close to laying the film here. I have a couple of different things I want to put together though. I'm a big fan of just getting all the tools in order ahead of time. So, a couple different things I got to get set up. We have some distilled here water for the tack. Big fan of distilled water for tack. Not against using the alcohol-based stuff, especially if you keep it low, like 10:1 or something, you know. But I do remember this customer or the owner of the vehicle wearing Oakley's or Ray-Ban or something, like polarized sunglasses, and I know sometimes the way that the alcohol tax it changes the, I think it's called refractment index, something along those lines. It changes the way that it you see it kind of underneath. It creates almost like a haze underneath the film that you can see when you're wearing polarized sunglasses. So we'll keep it with a distilled water. And I'm using a colder temperature for it. This is a pretty big stretch. I'm not too concerned about the film sticking. I'll usually keep it to a pretty low concentration anyways. Like I'm not someone who's using a ton of soap. So I know it'll stick. I just don't want to deal with any pullback because, you know what I mean? We're gonna do a pretty gnarly stretch on here, I'm pretty sure. So don't want to overdo it. And then because I'm here working by myself, I gotta grab some gel, you know, shout out to Uncle Mike. So, you know, when I actually first used this, I gotta admit, I wasn't a huge fan of it. The first time I had grabbed it, this is when it first came out, by the way, so this is their second formulation, or at least the second one that I've tried. Maybe they've had more, and I know, you know, after being on the back end of it with optical and CSW, sometimes you work on things and, you know, release different iterations or whatever, right? But the first version of this that I had tried had, you know, just like a ton of this like residue that no matter what I did, I couldn't get it off my hands for like half an hour. And it was just driving me nuts, dude. Like it literally just wouldn't go away. So, you know, I didn't really, if I'm being honest, I didn't like it. It installed great. But everybody who would ask me about it, I would just tell them, like, dude, I didn't like how it left the residue. It performed great. If you can deal with the residue, then it's worth it. You know, and then recently I got to try it again at Finishing Touch Detail at David and Hope Shop. A couple weeks ago now. Maybe, I don't know, like 3 weeks ago now? Almost a month. I'm flying. But I got to try it there again, and I was like, oh, like this is different now, and this is a fresh batch, like a new batch I had just bought. So, you know, Mike and Bryce and the team must have made some changes to make it so that stuff doesn't linger anywhere near as long. So, very happy change, very welcome change. Like I said, did not like that residue that the stuff, you know, had been keeping. You know, at least the last time I tried it. So, but yeah, anyways, I'm getting a couple things ready here. And then, you know, normally I'm measuring it, but same thing, I left my syringe at a different shop. So we're just gonna do 11 pumps, which is usually right around 20 mils. It's kind of my happy place for film. So keeps me right at about 8 mils per gallon. This seems to be kind of a happy place for the films that I like and this kind of stuff. All right, yeah, most tanks, if you're using this kind of a metal tip or brass tip, I like them sitting right around like 80 PSI, maybe 90. These brass tips help with the pressurized side of it. If you're just using a straight plastic T-jet, I'd probably like to get up to 100 for a hood like this. Now, I already have a piece pre-cut, excuse me. It's cut something like 90 or 96 inches. Yeah, it's pre-cut to like 96 inches or something like that. So The only two things I gotta do left here, disconnect this jet nozzle. This looks like it's just this little plug right here, so I can get this piece off. I almost wanted to leave it on, to be honest, but the more I was looking at it, I was like, you know what? When I go do my stretch, this isn't gonna work. Yeah, so I gotta get this just to clean back here. Not as dirty as I thought it was gonna be. It was still dirty. But yeah, we got 96, so I'm gonna just do a reverse roll. I'll have the packet somewhere over here. Look at it spread out. Come back and adjust it. We'll do a 4-corner tack. So I'm thinking anchor here, and then we'll work on that forward stretch. This is either gonna be like it's gonna take me 2 or 3 tries, and then spend like 2 hours on it, or it's gonna be like a 15-minute stretch, and then it's just squeezing it out. And I don't think there's gonna be in between, so that kind of fucking sucks. I'm not gonna lie. But it is what it is. That is PPF, especially when you're working on something that you haven't worked on before. Which, like I said in the beginning, I've never done this body style Range Rover. I imagine it's not gonna be too crazy different from, you know, like the newer Defenders and stuff. But yeah, so I'm not gonna lie, I kind of just want to vibe out to some music. So I will keep this recording once I get the film on here, but I don't plan on talking a whole lot. I'd much rather do a voiceover and just do a couple different cuts, if I'm being honest. Plus, this thing's like at 11%, so I need to plug it in somewhere before I get jamming too far into it. But yeah, that being said, we'll get ready to get this on the car. Wish me luck. I need a cool catchphrase, because I don't have one right now. All right, fuck it, whatever, just keep watching.
Okay, let's go.
Alright, just dropped my phone in a pool of water. Wasted $300 worth of film. And I threw my squeegee so far that I lost it. So how's your day going? Alright, well, whatever. I'm over it. We're starting over. So I just need to find a way to get this piece of film off the hood and see where I can still lay it on the car and still salvage it. I think I can get a nice seam going from so like on the left valley that was already laid. I'm sorry, throw some B-roll in here. I think I can get it to like trim it there, like split it, you know, seam it or whatever. I think I can get that to sit on this quarter. I think it's long enough to sit in there nicely. So I'll get y'all a little closer. I'm just gonna borrow Ty's car real quick. Get you guys a little more zoomed in so you can kind of see what's going on here. But yeah, let me grab my tape measure. Let's see how long this thing is and how tall it is, because it looks like it's only about 30, maybe 33, 34 inches. All right, let's see. That's about 48. Yeah, it's like 24. Well, this is 6. Yeah, so that seam to here is 57 inches. I could literally slice it right there and have enough to go do, actually both quarter panels. Okay, so this isn't the end of the world. I think we're still gonna be okay. But yeah, not gonna lie, that did piss me the fuck off. Yeah, I haven't thrown a squeegee or been upset like that. Honestly, in years. So, if you guys don't know me, if you haven't met me in person, I'm very much so like Care Bear coded. Like I'm just kind of fucking chilling all day, not really worried about anything. I don't really let anything get into my skin. But this one, honestly, I was just really happy with how the install was going. But whatever, I guess we'll just do, here's how you would save a giant piece of film you almost wasted because you're a dummy. Okay, well, I don't need this anymore. Okay. So my idea as of right now is to try to split this in half, whichever way I have more film. Yeah, see, and this is really going to be the only tough part on this quarter. Okay, cool. This one's not too bad at all, actually. Yeah, so it looks like the other half of this this piece will be able to go over here. So I'm gonna spray some gel, not tag like I'm doing right now. Yeah, I'm gonna spray some gel. We'll get it floating over there. I'll make my anchors, do my stretch, make a relief cut, and then bring that piece over here. So I'm gonna try laying it with just tack. See if it lays happy enough, or if it's gonna need a dry anchor. Okay, looks like it's holding pretty good. Okay, so I'm trying to get tension in two different areas right now. So I'm trying to get tension coming this way, so when it's time to wrap that edge, it's just that much easier. And then I'm trying to get tension coming down, so this actually shapes this here. So looks like we're okay there. We have a couple inches there, we have a couple inches there. So now we can start working on this this big old Donkey Kong stretch we're gonna have to do to get this to lay down. And honestly, I don't think I'm even gonna take a chance on this back half. I think I'm just gonna go straight to the dry tack, just for the sake of time. Because I'd really like to lay, so I really wanted to lay, I started pretty late today, but I really wanted to lay for sure the hood, and then probably the fenders of one of the bumpers, because I know Ty's doing some paint correction on that dope ass Viper tomorrow. And I didn't want to be in his way, and I didn't want any of that dust coming my way. But if I need to, I do have a backup plan. Which is basically just to work it right. Okay. And then when I'm doing this stretch, a couple things I'm looking for. So there's a body line here, and then one coming this way. So I need to get this to suck in, and then I need to get this bottom piece to have no fingers. So I'll probably have to come cross over and then up or down. Let's see. Yeah, it's down. Okay. So this will do my left hand right now, which is this one. It's doing the down stretch. This one's the one coming over. And we're just giving this a second to hold back there. Yeah, my hands are slippery. Okay, not a crazy stretch though. Definitely have to do some crazier ones. Okay, so right palm here chilling. Yep, so my right palm's chilling. Just giving that a second to jump in. And I'll come in with my left hand, my left knee, start locking all this in. So it just really holds like I want it to. I don't get any weird pullback. If I get any weird pullback, I'll end up with a bunch of fingers there. And then everything we just did was basically for nothing. So let's go ahead and lock that in, everybody. And then we don't have to worry about it. And then all I'm looking for, because we stretch that way, right, is to have no fingers, you know, going north to south. No fingers pointing north to south, which means they want to be spread east to west. These fingers that are coming east to west, you know, I'll use a book analogy again, right? Book that wants to be open, they either want to come up or they want to come down. So I can't actually just probably pull this up. But if you notice, it starts getting fingers over there. We have so much excess material down here that I believe it'd be much easier to just do a stretch. I'm gonna do one here. All right, following this. And then I'm actually gonna do another one over to my left a little bit. And that one will take care of this piece right here. So then when I go to suck all this air out, the phone just wants to do that. Okay, well, there you go. Man, that was too easy. Too easy, too easy. Let's see if we can just lock that one piece in. Just that. Okay. So now this is locked in, so all this has to work out to the sides. And really, I probably just want to bring it all over here because this is still pretty loose. So before we do any squeegeeing, right, you want to make sure that your panel is floating. Kind of floating. It's kind of stuck. I don't want to run the risk of having any weird dry spots. So I'll just come in here with my tank, make sure my hose isn't touching. There we go. Yep, make sure my hose doesn't actually touch any of the paint. Especially in these areas, right? Anywhere that, like this, it's gonna get super dry, super quick. There's so much tension, and this is so pronated, so like pointed out, that the water doesn't sit there. And then my nozzle did touch in there, so I made sure that I spent more time flushing it to make sure that if there was anything in there, it's working its way down. Okay, so let's re-hit this stretch. And then now, since we're not stretching anymore, we can do one big anchor. And lock that puppy in. Cool. All right, so this is kind of what I'm looking for, right? There's no weird fingers, nothing really stressing me out anywhere. I'm gonna start here, just because I know this is gonna dry out super quick, and then I'm gonna end up with some ugly shit. And really, I made a mistake here. What I should have done, where my hand's holding right now, this is where I should have put an anchor, right there, instead of holding it with my hand squeezing it, because as I let it go, that film is now shifting up. So when I go do my other one, this is the driver's side. When I go do my Right, passenger side, we'll do it that way. Okay, any bubble bigger than our squeegee, you want to just guide out by gently massaging it out. You're not going to win, and it's just going to piss you off. Okay, that little channel we'll have to work out. So let's see if we can actually get this out. Okay, let's get all this little tiny bit of moisture out. Okay, and then what did we just talk about? Any bubble bigger than your squeegee, it's not worth chasing. So we'll make sure this is open right there. And we get a little bit of tack on top, and you can be slip. Like, this could be slip, it doesn't have to be tack. It's just as close as to me. We're gonna get all that out. I'm gonna guide all this over here. I don't wanna go in there, right? Because we already squeegeed that down. There's a bubble right there. I don't want to squeegee that dry. So I'm going to just spray something in there to get it wet. Okay, could have been slip. The tack's right here. So we'll just do the tack. Using my right middle finger here, or in this case, my right middle finger over here, to make sure that I'm getting pressure along this piece right here. All right. All right. So this can relax a little bit now. So that wouldn't have laid. What's happening there is the rear bumper actually sticks out past where the quarter is. So that gap in between, it's kind of creating like a trampoline effect. And that pretty much wouldn't have gone down, let's say nicely. Maybe we could have forced it down. But we want the film to be happy and relaxed. And in an area, laying in an area where it's not going to fight us, right? We're installing with integrity and with longevity in mind, right? Okay, so I do want to make some relief cuts, but I'm going to let this sit for 10-15 minutes while we go squeegee out and figure out what the heck we're doing on the other side. I think that makes more sense right now. If I cut this too soon, we'll get a little bit of rebounding, right? Film has really strong memory. I'm pretty sure you've at some point heard that before. And it's true, right? The film wants to go back to whatever shape it was at. So when you're cutting stuff, try to make sure the film has already, you know, kind of stayed in place for a little while, and it's bonded nicely to the paint. All right, there it is. Cool. All right, so let's figure out how we can make this puppy work, because it's kind of a weird cut we got going on here. I'm going to do a little bit of finessing. So I don't need as much film on that side where the taillight's at as I do over here. Okay. Not gonna lie, I was a little worried there when I brought the film over that maybe it was gonna be short. I was getting a little stressed out. Okay, cool. No, this looks good. Actually, I don't think I even, no, I do need to bring this over a little bit. Actually, did I make that work? I might be able to make this work. Okay, we'll find out right now. Did you guys know that this popped out that easy? Well, I mean, so that's how you would work around it if you didn't remove it, right? You kind of just stretch to a point and then create a second stretch around it where it gets really tight on it, and then just a couple small relief cuts, little by little, until you get it right. Yeah, I wish I would have known that. That would have made this so much easier. It's only one plug. Well, hey, learn on the next one, I guess, right? All right, let's go do the other side. Move all this stuff over there. So you know how earlier you'll see in the little time lapse of the prep video, whatever, I had gotten in here to I had gotten in there to like clean up or whatever. Tell me why I go to pop the hood, right? So I go to pop this thing. It had been laying down, I popped it so I could just use that leftover piece that had fallen and put it on the fender. Tell me why all of this dirt fell off of it and got all over this side of the film. So I had to kind of like halfway lay it, you know what I mean? So yeah, this is like halfway laid. I'm probably gonna do the same thing. I'll probably just end up popping this up first, though, doing it a little differently than the other way. But for the most part, this will take like 5 minutes. And then once that's done, I'm just gonna clean up and get all set up to, get all set up to get home. It's already 9:30. We'll do a little recap, kind of while I'm cleaning, and then just get all sorted out. But solid first day. Really would have liked to get the hood done. But I mean, it's tomorrow. All we got to do is the hood and the front bumper, and then just the doors, which the doors won't take very long at all. So not super worried about it. I guess it could be worse. It's gonna be interesting explaining to Ty tomorrow why the fuck I can't find my squeegee and why the fuck it's like behind this washer dryer. I might just leave it back there. I'm not gonna lie. I got that one for free. So You know, all right, well, turn the camera back around. We'll just wrap this up. I'm just jamming out the music, so, you know, I'm in my happy place. We vibing, we chilling. All right, so end of day one. It's almost 10 p.m. That's crazy, bro. Today flew by. Not the result I was looking for today. Not gonna hold y'all. But I had fun with it. It wasn't anything too bad. Oh god, that scared me a little bit. Freaking dried up gel. Yeah, so the fenders are laid, the quarters are laid. They're even like a little bit trimmed, so whatever, like it's doing fine. I just really wanted to get the hood done today, so I think that's gonna be the first thing I tackle tomorrow. It is what it is. That should have been a pretty easy, quick piece to lay. I did do it twice though, so I'll give myself some grace. I mean, I guess the first one I did was with a 60 roll on a film. I was just kind of getting some feedback on for one of my industry friends or whatever. But that film was really good. I'll text him and ask him if I can talk about it, because I don't know if it needs to be like a NDA style thing or whatever. Second run though was going super smooth with the optical film. Dude, in between watching the Super Bowl halftime show and fixing my keg because it sprung a leak, it was like fine. That would have been done maybe 5-10 minutes later. With just a little bit of an adjustment to one of the anchors. But yeah, that all laid super well. We had the tear in the film, so I had to audible real quick and just use that piece. But you know what though, that one piece on the hood actually fit on both fenders and both quarters, so it wasn't a total loss. I mean, that could have been pretty ugly. That was about $300 worth of film, so at least we got it used somewhere else. But it is what it is. I mean, I didn't start until super late today. I couldn't meet with Jar until about 10, and then we were kind of waiting for his ride and just going over everything. Right, you always want to make sure that you're on the same page with the person that you're working with, the owner of the vehicle, I guess is probably the better way to say it. So get on the same page. Had to stop by Car Supplies Warehouse to pick up some supplies. So we got some Insta gel from Mike, awesome gel. I like it. It's really fun to use. We got a roll of optical defense, still my favorite film, not gonna lie to y'all. The film fucking works awesome. It does stick. If you can't make it stick, it's your problem, you suck. And then what else do we got? We got some of the Olfa blades, still the most consistent blade I found. Pack of the clay bars, the optical clay bars, and some prep or whatever. So, the homies are at Car Supplies Warehouse still, so that always takes a little while. And they were having to transfer inventory, which always takes like half an hour or so. Really, I probably didn't start here until, if I had to guess, probably 12. Prepped it, car was ready and prepped by about 1:30. And then I ran and grabbed lunch. I hadn't ate all day, and wanted to hang out with the kids for a little bit. So, with the kids in the fam, so we went and grabbed lunch. That took a little while. Took them home, and then by the time I got back here, it was probably already like 4, if I had to guess. So, I mean, I guess all in all, about an hour panel, which for bulking isn't terrible, and fucking about 2 hours of that, 3 hours of that day was just doing the hood twice. So tomorrow when I come in, first thing probably, first thing's probably a trim, because this all will be dry enough to just be like rough cut, you know what I mean? You know, leave everything unwrapped, but get it trimmed up. And then last thing really would just be at that point to do the hood and the front bumper tomorrow. And the doors, I feel really, really comfortable with. That won't take any time at all. I have an idea of how I want to do it already. I just got to see how those door handles come off and if it's worth the hassle. If not, the owner was actually telling me just to do it in seams, like in pieces. So I hadn't even thought about it until he said it, but that might be like the simplest way to lay it. It's just, I don't know, you know, you always want to do like a high quality install, especially I feel like I got a certain reputation I gotta meet, you know what I mean? I don't just represent myself. I feel like I represent the people I learned from and the people I worked with. So, you know, I don't want to just do shitty work. But, you know, I mean, it's weird because honestly, I got kind of like a free hall pass with this car with the owner that was just like, I just don't want to see scratches in the paint anymore. I don't care if it's contamination. I don't care how it looks. Like, just get it on there. And it's just like, dude, like I care how it looks, but now I'm running into the dilemma that every detailer runs into of like, it's not your car, so like just do what the customer says. But it's also like, I have a standard to upkeep. So, you know, it's gonna be an interesting turnout. But the bumper will be fine. You know, that'll just be a relief cut and then maybe an inlay. I got to see if I want to do an inlay, if I want to just try to, you know, make like a relief cut and have a gap. I know the kit on this has like a gnarly gap. And then, yeah, it's the front bumper, the hood, and the doors. I mean, that won't take much time at all. And then I'd like to lay some film on my daily if I got time. I've been meaning to do the hood, or maybe I'll just ask Ty if I can swing back around and, I don't know, I'll trade some free labor for letting me use the shop, you know. But overall, really solid day. Easy. So, you know, but anyways, I'm just fucking yapping now. You know, whatever, I'm a professional yapper. What are you gonna do? I'm gonna get cleaning up. This place is a mess, and I don't wanna have Ty come in tomorrow morning and, you know, walk in and just be like, what the fuck? So I'm gonna, you know, get all my stuff in one area, charge these mics, charge the camera, get all that set up, and then kind of go from there. So hopefully I'll be able to bounce out of here at 10:30. Oh, man. Dude, my hair looks fucking insane. I don't think I've actually like posted a video or anything of how crazy my hair is right now. Yeah, I haven't got a haircut in like 3 weeks, this is usually kind of my max. I probably should just make an appointment to get a haircut this week. My barber moved to a new location, so, you know, I definitely got to squeeze it in. But yeah, I've been growing my hair out since, that looks crazy. I've been growing my hair out since October, I think it was. Yeah, like October-ish. So like obviously, you know, I still like fade all this and, you know, keep the beard tidy. I haven't like not gotten a haircut, but I don't normally let my hair grow out. I think anybody I've met over the past fucking since like 2008 has always just seen me with really short hair, bro. I get like a 1 or 2, maybe 3 at the most, and then the rest of it is just a line up in a mid-bald fade. So yeah, this is fucking insane to me. I mean, this is literally like, bro, that's crazy. But yeah, I got 24 days until I decide if I'm gonna cut it or not. I said I was gonna go out to my birthday. It's coming up. We're in the middle of February now, and it's the first week of March. So the funny thing is, I'll actually be visiting home like the weekend of my birthday. So I was like, dude, that'd be kind of crazy if I went back to my barber, Caesar, who had been my barber from like, dude, I think like 2016 or something until I moved. So he was like one of 2 people or 3 people now that's ever cut my hair. And that was my guy. I did weekly cuts with him. So I thought about it. I was like, maybe I'll just go to him and I'll have him kind of do something with it. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of wanted to slick it back, you know, do a little Chicano kind of thing, but it's too long for that now. So I don't know. But yeah, all right, well, get some rest, stay hydrated. I'm gonna go ahead and get jamming, get cleaned up, and then I'll see y'all tomorrow. First thing in the morning, get some sleep.
gonna take her out real quick, baby. Keep doing your homework thing, okay? Alright. Oh, Johnny, it's snowing. Oh my goodness. This is real snow. Yeah, hopefully the audio is going okay. I don't have my mics on me. Oh, dude, I got bags under my eyes. I'm so tired. But the Range Rover's done. So we ended up doing pretty much front clip, 4 doors, and then just like a little piece on the quarters, like basically the whole quarter, but they're tiny little quarters. I think I might end up redoing the hood. I didn't love how it came out, but it didn't come out bad or anything. And just I had a little pivot at the end where some of my buddies ended up coming in helping out, and when we did the stretch, there was a little piece that didn't get stretched how I wanted it, and when I turned it back, it pulled a little bit. So still wrapped, but I have a feeling it might pop up, so I might end up redoing that hood. But overall, fun project. I really like bulking stuff, and I think the cool thing with that one is once I'm gonna see it again here in a couple days and record it. Once you get everything baked out or whatever, it's gonna be a good way to show kind of what it looks like to PPF a car that has some mileage, right? And to PPF a car that has what do you call it? Like it's gonna be a good video to show what happens when you PPF an older car or a car that has some mileage, right? Something that has rock chips in it, something that has scratches in it, something that has like indents or impact marks from rock chips and being on the road, even if it's not like a true chip where the paint's missing, because you kind of see all that, bug etching, that kind of thing. And on older cars, there's not really very good patterns, so you kind of have to do this thing where you're kind of custom making patterns and bulking it. The owner wasn't super into the idea of disassembly, and honestly, neither was I on some of the harder stuff. There's a lot of simple stuff that came off really easy, but the door handles seem to require quite a bit of work. There's some door handles on those Ranges that you can get off and get down with just like some clips, and then there's some that actually require you to take out like the window and the whole railing system for it and stuff. So I ended up deciding against it. But dude, check out the snow. It is so crazy snow. But yeah, this will be the end of the video. So like, subscribe, all the good stuff. We're creeping up on 100 followers. I'm pretty excited. Or subscribers. Whoops. Make sure you check out the Range Facebook for all the fun stuff. And